And it came to pass, didn't it? It came to pass that a decree, an edict, went out from Caesar Augustus. And when Caesar passes a decree, when Caesar gives out an edict, he expects it all to be followed. If Caesar says jump, the whole kingdom says how high. And so Caesar's decree set the whole world in motion. All the earth moved. Caesar says jump, and the world says how high, because what's more powerful than Caesar? Caesar and his power and his pomp and his show and everything that Rome represents run the world, don't they? Politics, those who are powerful, those who are high-born, those who are of high estate, those who have wealth, those who have an army. Isn't that the real power that runs the world? Yes, when Caesar says jump, we still say, how high? So Joseph jumped, and Mary jumped too, even though she was great with child. They went up out of Galilee, and they came unto Bethlehem. They didn't jump because they wanted to. It wasn't a happy journey. It's never a happy thing to be taxed, is it? But that's how it goes in Caesar's kingdom. At Caesar's decree, at Caesar's power, everyone must obey, and that's just how the world runs, isn't it? That's the true power that runs the world. At least that's what Caesar thinks. Caesar's conceit, and all of us share in this, is that we run the world. It's our word that governs all things. It's our might that is the true power that makes all the difference. It's our hopes, it's our dreams, it's our kingdoms, and everyone else better just get in line. And if you have enough power, if you have enough force, you can make it happen, right? Well, Caesar had plenty of power. Caesar fancied himself king of kings and lord of lords, and why wouldn't he? Caesar was powerful, Caesar was important, and everyone around him told him so. Listen to what some of the people in his own day said about his birth. It is subject to question whether the birthday of our divine emperor Caesar spells more of joy or of blessing. This being a date that we could probably, without fear of contradiction, equate with the beginning of all things. If not in terms of nature, certainly in terms of utility. Seeing that Caesar has restored stability when everything else was collapsing and falling into disarray, and gave a new look to the entire world that would have been most happy to accept its own ruin had not the good and common fortune of all men been born, Caesar. Therefore, people might justly assume that his birthday spells the beginning of life and real living. Now, if you had people telling you that about your birth, you might get a big head, right? And if you had everyone obeying everything that you said, so that when you said jump, the people around you said how high, your head's going to get even bigger and bigger. And to some degree, we could understand it, right? When the ruler is powerful, when the ruler brings peace, when there is the Pax Romana, as it was in the days of Caesar Augustus, when civil wars cease and the empire is all united, man, that's a good thing, isn't it? But here's the thing about Caesar and all his power. It has to be enforced by someone. It always has to be enforced, and Caesar's words, Caesar's decrees are enforced at spear point. Caesar has his soldiers, and he has his governors, and he has his propagandists, just like we heard here read tonight. If you want another example of it, just pick up Virgil's Aeneid, and you'll see what the people in Caesar's time thought of Caesar Augustus. But the reason I go on about all of that is because I want to warn you of a danger that is common to each and every one of us. Because there is a little Caesar in all of us, isn't there? There is a little Caesar in all of us, and what I mean by that is we are often deceived into thinking that the real things that matter, the real power that runs the world is force, is might. What can I get? What can I do? And there's no limits on me. There weren't any limits on Caesar Augustus. He could have done whatever he wanted. And still to this day, many live that way. Many live that way and suppose that the only power that is at work in the world comes at the end of a spear. Caesar's decree went out that all the world should be taxed. And that should tell you something about the kind of kingdom that Caesar had. It was a kingdom where the ruler taxes you, where the ruler takes from you. And that's kind of the way things are in our world, isn't it? You got to pay your taxes, and you got to pay more taxes. Kingdoms are expensive, and wars have to be paid for, and soldiers need their bread, and the people need their circuses, and so somebody's got to pay for it, and it sure as heck isn't going to be Caesar Augustus. So everybody line up and get counted and pay the bill. But tonight I tell you of a different force, of a different power, of something stronger and higher than Caesar, of something older and greater than any force in this world. Some of you know that force that I'm speaking of. It is the force of love. Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, right? Grandma says jump, and we all say, how high, Grandma? What time do we need to be there? You just tell me, and I'll be there. And it's a much more joyful journey, isn't it? Love impels us to do great things, and love makes all journeys into pilgrimages. But that's not really the decree that I speak of tonight. There is a higher and deeper and broader and more wonderful love than even the love of Grandma and of your family. There is a better king than Caesar, and there is a better decree than the one that he passed long ago. It is heaven's decree. It was published first in the garden. He will crush the head of the serpent. And that decree of heaven that the Son of God would come into the world was broadcast down through the ages through the prophets. You heard just a sample of those things tonight. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, not Caesar Augustus. His name will be called the Prince of Peace. That decree of heaven. That decree of heaven that predates Caesar Augustus, that predates you or me, that decree God has caused to be announced into the world. It came from the angel Gabriel to a little virgin in some far-off place in Nazareth, not to the halls of Rome, but to Nazareth came the news. And it was sung over those fields outside of Bethlehem to shepherds. And notice the difference between heaven's decree and Caesar's. Caesar says, line up and get taxed, and the whole world moves. But not Caesar. He stays put in Rome. But when the decree of heaven is announced, it is this kind of news. Good news. The Son of God is coming. He moves. Heaven moves, not earth. You don't have to move. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay taxes to him. He is going to pay everything for you. Do you see how different these two decrees are? It is Jesus who moves at heaven's decree. He moves down from heaven to earth. That's a demotion, people. He comes down from heaven to earth, and when he gets here, he finds no place in the inn. And so instead of a bed of soft and silken stuff, he's laid in a manger rough. But that's only the beginning of how Jesus moves. He moves from Bethlehem, and his journey takes him all the way to Mount Calvary, and there he will be put in a different kind of wood. He will be nailed to the wood of the cross, not to take taxes from you, but to pay what you owe. Do you see the different decree of heaven? It is not the decree of power, but it is the decree of divine love, and it is that force that runs heaven and earth. From heaven down to earth, to the cross, laid again and wrapped up in burial cloths and put where he does not belong in your tomb and mine. But now that Son of God is risen. And he is risen to publish a decree to you. He is risen so that the good news may be preached not just to shepherds outside of Bethlehem, but so that it may ring in your ears. Down through the ages, God makes the decree of heaven known. He makes that decree of love broadcast. And what happens? What happens with love? Well, love does not beget resentment, does it? Taxation does. You better believe taxation does. Making a decree that everyone has to get up and move back and go somewhere else, that breeds all kind of resentment. But the decree of heavenly love begets love in return. And so your life is to be run now on the very same thing that runs heaven and earth. Your life is to run with that decree of love, his for you and yours for him in return. When you run with that love, when you know that love, well, just think of what happens when Grandma says jump. You say, how high, Grandma? What time do you want me to be there, and what should I bring? When God says jump, say how high. When God says jump and move and do this and do that, it isn't that he's some kind of terrible earthly tyrant. He's not some new Caesar Augustus. He is far greater and far better. He is the King of angels who has joined himself to your frail humanity. And so all of his commands, all of his promises are love, pure love. And love makes all journeys pilgrimages. He who found no room in that inn has made room for you in his Father's mansion. So run in his love, for the whole world does not revolve around Caesar Augustus and his decrees. He is long forgotten. The world revolves around the babe of Bethlehem, the Son of Man, the friend of sinners, the King of heaven and earth. And when he sees you, when you see him in heaven, he will not say to you, "Sorry, no room." But he will say, "Welcome, my brother. Welcome, my sister. I have made room in this house for you." To him be the glory now and always. Amen.